The way that I guess the legacy system has grown, it's kind of created this relationship between where we live and the type of services we've got access to, which is subject to that. So where you live, town planning, the way the cities are actually designed and our suburbs are designed, have engineered, for example, that the services that we quote unquote need, or the goods that we quote unquote need, can only be sourced from these designated areas. And so, when you look at, for example, groceries or, the supermarket kind of model here in Australia, there's only a certain amount of shelf space that is available for the to place products in front of a consumer and to actually try and support them. And so some choices are being made there that aren't, strictly speaking, the choices of the consumer. And so when I think about healthcare and I think about goods and services related to healthcare, I think our opportunity to reimagine the way that we actually build relationships between consumers and their, let's say, what's best for them, by empowering them to being more consumer-centric, or in the context of healthcare, more patient-centric or more client-centric. We can sort of say, no, the only choice to getting products are not just what's limited to those items that are on the shelves of this, physical space that's over here. And we can actually move more towards niching in the healthcare industry, which is sort of an evolving trend, where healthcare service providers can actually really become sort of specialist in a subset of women's healthcare, as opposed to trying to be generalists or trying to do a lot across the board. Does that resonate with you at all? Do you see that potential?
Yeah, I do. And I think there's another facet to it as well, like especially when you're chatting about, consumers not having, they don't get to decide what goes on the shelf. But especially in Australia, where regional Australia is really difficult sometimes to get the healthcare you're needing. That's when technology can really, come in handy, as well as really serve those individuals who might need it. So there's a few companies that are noted for this. So there's WellFem, which is a company that is specific for supporting women through menopause, and it's a telehealth application. So the purpose for this is, of course, to be able to suit women everywhere is needed, but particularly for regional Australia, where it might take hours to get to a specialist, and menopause specialists aren't everywhere. It becomes a great asset to be able to suit those women and definitely make them feel less isolated despite geography. The same goes with some companies I mentioned previously, like at-home consultations for contraception, and then a subscription for either the pill or IUD or whatever the prescription ends up being. There's a company called Kinfertility that helps a lot with this. There's a lot of femtech companies that are really taking this idea that especially in Australia, there has to be accessibility. It has to be a key thing for women to get the healthcare that they need.
In the community at the moment with Femtech Collective, what are some stories that you could refer to of people that you've gotten involved with, and the Femtech Collective has been able to support them move from point A to point B or point C to point D? Can you tell us a couple of stories?
Sure. There's quite a few. I think most recently, which is top of mind, is individuals coming to us at the very peak of interest with the idea they have for a company or product they want to launch. So most recently, I had someone approach me about creating a better and more discreet breast pump for Australia, similar to a couple products that are coming out of the US, but nothing specific to the Australia context. This would mean more flexibility for working women, and getting rid of the taboo of shoving women into closets or wherever space is necessary to have privacy for pumping. So it's been interesting chatting with this particular founder who's coming through the ideation phase to really see how she's progressing from basic research, and eventually we'll see the launch of the product. We've had many stories of individuals coming through looking for fundraising, which is of course very difficult in this time. But how we work, as mentioned previously, is we like to collaborate. So we've collaborated with quite a few firms. So being able to connect those individuals, which I should probably not say until those deals go through, with the right contacts and the right individuals, investors who will add a bit more to their company, not just funding, but strategically, as far as their backgrounds are concerned, is really giving us, is a win for us. Essentially, we want to amplify those founders, and if we can do that through our partnerships, that's the way forward for us. Otherwise, it's even smaller in that respect. It's the enthusiasm that we see around femtech more generally. So right before Sydney went into its isolation, in February, we had our biggest in-person event, and the buzz going around the room and the enthusiasm for the industry to grow, I was overwhelmed with. And it really showed that there is such a key interest for this space, as well as acknowledging that women's health journeys are can be a priority, and that we're not alone going through them. There's so many facets that come into women's health journey, through pregnancy, through menopause, mental health, all these different things that can be isolating and are still not culturally a norm to chat about openly. So being able to have a panel of fantastic women and a mostly female crowd, but I would say about 80% female. So great to see male representation there. To be able to talk about this space and present questions and really make it about their journeys has been really fundamental. And we're seeing that even progress as we have launched our Femtech Formation, which is our online virtual networking. The being able to connect in the space, even one-on-one, and exchange ideas, build a team through these networking events has really, the feedback we've gotten is exciting, which shows that our passion for the industry extends past the team.
That's great. Now, you used a term there, amplify. And so the amplification of the founders. What are some of the things that you do, or the Femtech Collective does, to achieve just that? Sure.
So for a lot of the approach that we use in the Femtech Collective is we kind of act as a accelerator, or which in the tech space has a very specific term, but maybe like a catalyst is better, more broadly. The individuals that come to us know that we can find particular PR opportunities or put them in contact with the right partners to bring their company or their product to the next level. So that's seen even the way that we do our own marketing. You'll see a lot of times through our different channels and through our different events that a core function of how we approach Femtech is ensuring that the founders that are already there and are doing great work, that their products are being seen, that we're helping them progress and find new users, find the right audience. We know that our audience are already going to be adopters of their products, so we want to put them in front of our audience, either through speaking engagements or putting them in touch with the right media outlets or what have you, to, and not to use the same word, but to amplify what they already have put out for themselves. So with a lot of what we're talking about women's health journeys, being a founder more generally, no matter your gender or sex, can be very lonely unless you have a very supportive co-founder. And we try to act as a support service in that matter, an actual support service that they can lean on to show what the progress they've made and allow us to push it a bit farther.